All right, let's look at the election by the numbers. President-elect Trump got the electoral votes he needed to win the presidency. But like in 2000, when George W. Bush won over Al Gore, Hillary Clinton won the popular vote. Locally, it was a huge win for Clinton in Harris County, and she also won Fort Bend by an impressive margin. Some of the down tickets here in this area locally were impacted by that for sure. Kim Ogg for a lot of the Democrats won, including at the top of the ticket, Kim Ogg over Devin Anderson. And
the Democrats won every countywide race in Harris County, though I will say Kim Ogg, given the numbers, would have won no matter what would have happened with the presidency. She was fated to win this race with a really good campaign and with Devin Anderson's decisions that I think hobbled her ability to be successful.
Well, coupled with what's going on, since you're here and you're a former Harris County Republican Party bigwig, and you still are hooked into that, what kind of position does that leave the party in Harris County?
Well, as my friend on the panel said, Jay, it's the worst defeat for Republicans in 40 years. Inexplicably, we lose every countywide race in a year where Donald Trump had coattails around the country for Republicans. But one of the things our local party didn't do is really show any support for Trump. And I think it reflected in the numbers. And also give credit to the Democrats and the allies on the Democratic side. They did a fabulous job with early ballot applications, beat the Republicans 4-1, beat the Republicans in early voting, and beat the Republicans on the day vote. So Democrats get credit. Hillary Clinton gets an assist. I still think the Republicans could have had a mixed bag this year, kind of like 2012, where they won about half the judicial races with an effective local campaign that you talked about, the courthouse to the White House, but they didn't do that.
Okay, the results are what they are. What does it mean for the actual governance now going forward with Kim Ogg and the DAs? What kind of real impact or difference is anybody going to feel as a result?
Well, I think the people of Harris County should be very excited that it'll be a progressive agenda to really make some impacts that have been needed to happen here in Harris County. A reform of our bail system, a change and shift in how we treat low-level marijuana cases, a change in how we manage the Harris County Jail, which has just been a nightmare for the people of Harris County. You know, we've heard this word flowing around the national press. You know, I think this was a mandate. I think it was a mandate by the people of Harris County that they want a change in their government. When your DA's office is broken, your jail is broken, it's time for a change.
Well, you know, we do hear that mandate. Now that you said that, mandate, electoral mandate in terms of the electoral college, but in terms of the popular vote, not so much. We are still a country that's really divided across the middle. What kind of challenge is that going to make for everybody, really? Because all the governments need to work together toward the betterment of this country.
Yeah, I mean, you most certainly did not have a mandate in an electoral sense for the president-elect. I mean, he didn't win the popular vote. More people voted against him than voted for him. Here locally, to Dallas's point, it was a tremendous day for Democrats. I mean, to win all 24 judicial seats, the biggest victory since 1976. But here's a couple of things to remember. By and large, we didn't have a strong turnout in terms of the election. Right? What we saw was the beginning of I think, a permanent demographic shift that's occurring in the county. It becomes very, very difficult because when you look at who is voting, who lives in the county, we know that the population is fundamentally shifting. You're seeing fewer and fewer older Anglo voters, more and more minority voters. But as overall, our overall turnout was about the same on a percentage basis. We didn't have sort of historic turnouts. So this is really a structural change, and you have a built-in advantage now, I think, locally for Democrats, around 5-6 points.
You know, the Democrats have been thinking for a while now optimistically. I remember I had some people on, and Dwight Borkins was talking about the state turning purple or whatever, and they said, no, that's not going to happen. Your sense on what's going on, because I saw you smirk when he said that we have this fundamental change.
I don't think there's a fundamental change. I think that the Democrats ran a better campaign locally. I think they did a better job of getting their voters out. You know, nationally, we had historic evangelical turnout for Republicans, but not locally. Nationally, we had historic white turnout for Republicans, but we didn't locally. Nationally, we had historic turnout among minorities for Trump, and locally, no, because the Republican Party dropped the ball. Now, part of that was Democrats had some attractive candidates. Their two main candidates, Ed Gonzalez and Kim Ogg, were very attractive, and our major candidates had issues. You know, I think the best way to describe it, the Democrats' retort to the Republican Party slogan, Harris County Works, was, Not so. Harris County's not working. It's not working when a rape victim gets locked up and attacked. It's not working when you lose evidence. It's not working when the jail's dysfunctional. So that message, the Republican Party's message, reinforced the message the Democrats were
So
saying.
you're basically saying, okay, all it takes is just getting back together, and the next election cycle, there could be a different outcome.
Absolutely.
You, Senator Nov, I saw your face, and I just kind of read your face and said, not so fast.
First of all, let's point out that the Harris County Democratic Party has made significant gains since 2008. The demographics of the county is changing. 2008, obviously, there was a national lambasting in 2010 on the coattails of Obamacare and the country's sentiment about it. 12, there were gains. And here we are in 16, where we've had the most gains that we've ever had in Harris County. But there is one thing that I definitely want to clarify. You know, Donald Trump did not have this large minority support that Gary continues to point out in this conversation compared to Romney. You know, he did better than Romney with Hispanics, which was surprising. He did 29% to Romney's 27%. But the African-American community, which is part of that minority community, voted heavily against Donald Trump to the tune of some 98%. So, you know, he didn't have a lot of support across the board from minorities.
Last word, Jay, going forward, your sense about how soon the country will be able to coalesce and move forward.
I don't know. I think that's really up to the president-elect to some extent. This isn't 2000 in the sense where people were questioning the process. These protests that you're seeing are really about sort of the character and nature of who the president-elect is. So it's going to be incumbent upon him, I think, to reach out and say and reassure people that things are going to be moving in the right direction.
Well, I appreciate you guys coming in this morning. Tremendous good insight. I've learned from all of you. It's fabulous.
Well, Kimbrell, we all agree that you're a great host.
Thank you. We agree on that. Thank you. Good thing. Gary Paul and Dallas Jones, J.I. Thank you so much for coming in. We appreciate it. Just ahead, the mayor of Sugar Land, Joe Zimmerman, about to see his city increase by a third in population and why it's happening, who are the winners, and much more about the fastest growing